All right, good morning. Got a really good, strong SMU team coming in here this weekend. Really looking forward to a challenge that they bring to the table. It's a veteran football team. They've got, give or take, 14, 15 seniors starting on defense and offense, so very experienced football team. They've done a great job in just a short amount of time. Know Rhett Lashley really well, and everywhere he's been, he's had great success. Obviously, on the offensive side of the ball as a coordinator, and he's done a great job here in a short amount of time with SMU. They've recruited well, have really attacked the portal, have excellent skill guys on offense that they've been able to develop, and again have recruited in the transfer portal. L.J. Johnson, Texas A&M running back, and Jalen Knighton from Miami are two guys in particular in the backfield that are really explosive players, highly recruited guys. Done a great job. They've got a really good depth at receiver and big, long tight ends. Quarterback Preston Stone is somebody I have a little bit of familiarity. Had recruited him when I was at Clemson. Really excellent player, can run and throws with great accuracy. Really good, strong poise. Defense played really well for them a week ago. Really got after their front seven. Really got after Louisiana Tech. Had 6 sacks and doing a lot of really good things. They're coming in here with a lot of confidence. Kind of like us coming off of our game, and great confidence from a lot of hard work that our guys have put in. And again, this is going to be a great challenge. 5 o'clock, stripe the stadium game for our fans. Be a great opportunity for us to see a different style of offense, and again a really aggressive defense as we develop our team for the season. So I'll open it up for questions.
What do you remember about his recruiting process during the first signing period, and then also just the way he played on Saturday? And was he just like a sponge that year one, just absorbing everything and really taking what he learned in year one into his sophomore season?
Yeah, Gentry, they were really pretty easy to recruit. He didn't make his decision right away. He did take quite a bit of time to figure everything out, and but an awesome family, great people. And I don't think he was playing any kind of games. He's very focused and driven and committed guy. In regards to a year ago, it's like a lot of freshmen. He did not come in at semester, so he ran track, and so learning new verbiage and things of that nature. There's always a transition period, but he worked really hard. He's, everything I've been bragging about him. He's fearless, and he's committed, really hardworking. He had some bumps and bruises through a good portion of camp, and hopefully he can maintain good health for the season. He's got a tremendous future. Nowhere close to where we feel like he's going to be. Has tremendous ceiling. Played everywhere in high school, so wasn't like he came out of his mama's womb as a corner. He's a great athlete. That again, they used him everywhere at Booker T, which is a credit to him and his instincts. But what I loved about him out of high school, he was as a skinnier athlete. He really tackled aggressively. They played him at some linebacker in some games, and he played with a go for broke attitude there. So he's had the same mindset when he's been healthy here. And he is a sponge, really smart, takes great pride in his work.
Let's go to Ryan Aber.
Yeah, Brent, wanted to channel my inner Al Eschbach here when asked about what's your injury situation this week, specifically Drake, Dasan, and Davis.
Yeah, don't know anything different today. Don't have any idea whether or not those guys will be available. Dasan, we worried initially it might be a high sprain component. Doesn't look like that's the case at all. And I think Drake was ready to go back in the game on Saturday. Did you say Davis?
Davis,
Yeah. Yeah, he might be another week or so. It's really the issue for him is ankle sprain, probably a high component there.
Brent, Jaden Gibson had a couple really competitive catches on Saturday. He talked about how much of a difficult year it was last year for him, true freshman coming in, highly regarded. What did you see him do that set him up to be able to have, some moments like he did on Saturday? I'm sure moments you want him to continue to have in games.
Just maturing, his perspective changed. A lot of nurturing by a lot of people, and he'd be the first one to tell you he had to grow up. Just how you show up every day consistently and compete and be a great teammate and take coaching and put your nose in a playbook and get out of your own way. And really proud of the progress that he's made, and again the maturity that you're seeing every day from him. Having some success is good for everybody. From an affirmation standpoint, doing what we ask him to do, and but he's really had a great transformation, in the last 6 months.
Let's go to George.
Yeah, Brent, kind of a off-the-field question for you. There's been a lot made about game day atmosphere, and I know you guys moved the Walk of Champions down Lindsay Street. I'm just wondering, what are your impressions of the game day atmosphere on Saturday, and how much does that actually play into whether it's recruiting or just the game in general?
Well, having a good game day atmosphere makes a big impression. Most young men want to play in a tense, passionate environment, and they're paying attention to everything. So once we got into the stadium, it was fantastic. There's a good group of people that are always excited and eager to welcome us, and but everything does matter. Those recruits travel around the country. We're not recruiting against a mid-America conference. We're recruiting against the best of the best, and so that's always a perspective that a recruit's going to bring to the table.
Secondly, just following up on the injury stuff, you mentioned R. Mason Thomas and Gavin Sawchuk after the game. Is it still?
Yeah, they're available.
They're available. Thank you.
Far right, Ryan Chat.
SMU's offensive line pretty experienced at a couple of spots. What kind of different challenge is that going to provide for you this week, specifically with the pass rush going up against
I'm
the
sorry.
SMU offensive line?
Yeah, and what about them?
Their veteran group, what kind
Yeah.
of different challenge is that going to provide for the pass rush?
Well, again, they've seen a lot. We're not trying to trick anybody. But they're going to have a tough mindset to them, and they're going to be excited to come compete. And we're not going to sneak up on anybody. So it'll be a group of guys that, again, have played a lot of ball, seen a lot of stuff, and they want to make a name for themselves. So I expect their best, but I expect our guys' best as well.
Left side, James Hale.
Brent, in the game, a couple of times they got loose, and the defensive guys rallied, made the tackle, and then stoned them, and then they missed field goals. Talk about your pursuit in this game defensively, and what did you think about it? Is it where you thought it should be?
Yeah, I mean, we get cover to the ball, cover to the whistle. Thought it was good. Thought the one time we had a bust and Billy ran a guy down. I thought that was a great effort play on his behalf. But thought our pursuit was good. Turning and chasing, running the ball. We had very, very few loafs, and you always want more. You always want better, and it shouldn't matter who you're playing. It's how you play that matters, and you want to have great habits. So when there's opportunity, which there were an opportunity to teach and coach and reinforce, demand even better, we certainly will take advantage of those opportunities.
Eli.
Brent, we got to see the competitive depth. You guys had 87 guys play on Saturday, but these next few weeks, practice reps are limited, game reps become limited. How do you begin to kind of cull that competitive depth to where you need it to be come Big 12 play?
Yeah, I mean, guys that, we feel are guys that can give us quality reps are in our three deep, and, they're repping, during the course of the week like normal. Last week we didn't have more opportunity to rep more guys during the week. It's the same amount of guys. There's several guys that played in the game that didn't take one snap of scout work as far as being able to see what the opponent's going to do. They just applied their rules and whatnot. So if that's a guy like Sammy Seago, he's down with the offense all week, giving him a scout team look. And then we threw him in the game. He did pretty good. And but there were several guys like that, that did actually play. And but your true 2.5 deep, I would say, that are down there with you. You're always, conscious of, how you rep guys during the week and getting them ready. I don't see that necessarily changing. Is it going to be 87? I don't know. I think that developing your team and developing depth is an ongoing thing that we've got to all be very conscious of. And, regardless of what the next few weeks looks like, I think it's important that we continue to develop our team.
Yeah, Brent, PJ saw some time in the second half. Was he healthy all throughout camp, and how pleased have you been with the way that he's developed since camp started?
Yeah, he came into camp a little bit banged up, but but I've been really excited about where he is and where he's going, what he brings to the table, and my expectation he'll continue to enhance his role as the season goes on.
Hey, Brent, the defense played 51 snaps on Saturday. The offense played 90. Maybe just how important was that in terms of establishing that foundation of complementary football, and how important is that going into Saturday against an SMU team that plays really, really fast?
Yeah, I mean, that's what you want. Offense wants to stay on the field. Defense wants to get off the field. And, it's always important. And all the stats are going to align with the things that you desire when that's the case. So, the challenge is going to be greater this week for obvious reasons. And, you're looking at a team that's probably got more depth and certainly got more experience. Arkansas State was a very young team. This is a team that, as I said, I think it's maybe 15 seniors starting between the offense and the defense. That's a bunch of seniors. And, senior teams play with maturity. Usually they play with a different level of confidence. Their fundamentals are usually better. The moments aren't too big. So, but we got a good group of seniors as well. And my expectation is we continue to push and strive and hopefully execute to where we're continuing to complement one another. For us to have the kind of season that we desire, it's going to take that.
Coach, cheetah position is really important for you in your defense. It looks like that might be a really strong position, assuming Deshaun is back. How did Justin play? Because he got most of the snaps. How'd those guys grade out?
Yeah, they graded good, winning grades. And again, there's a gazillion things you want those guys, all of the guys, to be better at, whether it's eyes or alignments or fundamentals or man technique or zone technique, the process pre-snap. There's a lot, but it's a good start, and, I expect a stronger finish.
Mike, just a quick follow-up. Peyton looked like a couple of strong tackles. Is he a guy that might be involved more in the cheetah position? How does that work?
Yeah, no, he can play lots of spots, and he's repped that plenty.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's repped it plenty.
Brent, regarding your portal philosophy, is that something that did it take a little bit of trial and error to come to a final decision on how you'd recruit it, how you use it? Does it change based on
It changes based on your needs, and maybe what you thought at the beginning of the year. By the end of the year, things reveal themselves, and maybe you're somewhere else, but you have an inkling with guys graduating and where young people are, what an immediate need where you can bring a guy in that you feel like can make a difference. And, you have to have, what the portal allows you to do, you can enhance a position when you have sudden departures, whether that's through that leave on their own, or that maybe you've got a bunch of guys at one position graduating, or that declare early for the draft. It allows you to, where you feel like you don't have as many questions answered. Maybe you can bring in a guy that is more of a safety valve, if you will. But I think the biggest impact is, what we know is where somebody can come at a position of need and make you better immediately. So it all depends on where your roster is and what type of guys that you're able to recruit out of high school. And, where we have been the first couple of years is, to me, my vision is it'll be not as much, but it's still going to be, I'm not naive. I know how, with the fluidity of players being able to leave, you've got to maximize, when you feel like you need to, the opportunity to recruit in the free agent market.
We'll go far right, second row, Justin.
Brent, Jaquez spoke yesterday about how he really prides himself in studying the playbook, studying the film and whatnot. From your perspective, what have you seen out of him in terms of his preparation that allowed him to have a game like he did this past Saturday?
Yeah, he's mature, really intelligent. He's got a high football IQ. He's got a motor, loves to practice, loves to work, super coachable. He's a football player. He literally could come and play DB, tomorrow for us. But a lot to really like about him. He's incredibly talented, but he's got all the other stuff, though, too. The intangibles, the humility, the intelligence, the toughness. Really tough guy.
Next to Justin, Mason.
Brent, wanted to ask you about Calvin Thibodeau coming back this week as SMU's defensive line coach. What's your relationship like with him, and did you consider keeping him on staff when you got here, or did you know pretty quickly that Coach Bates was going to be ready to come?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, and I was just upfront and honest. Love Calvin and appreciate everything he did here as a Sooner. He's always a Sooner, great Sooner. I let him know immediately that I certainly would consider, but I've got to, I've offered the job, to someone else, and I'm going to give him an opportunity to take it before I, move forward.
And what is it about him that you really appreciated from when he played from you and also played for you, and also just your interaction?
Yeah, he's just always ready. He had he valued his role. He was always ready, a great teammate, practiced hard, made plays within the system, smart guy. Just, joy to coach.
Okay, let's go third row, Cliff.
Yeah, Coach, you've had a little bit more of an opportunity to look at the run game since Saturday. How do you feel about the offensive line and the backs?
Our offensive line and backs, I loved, again, they played with great passion and intensity. I felt we had just as a football team in the offensive line, if you could say they led the way. They had a sense of desperation to them, great focused intensity about them, and they were precise and finished the plays as a unit, for 4 quarters. Was pleased with what we saw, even through air and all that, just the effort and the physicality, and again, the maturity, the sense of desperation was there. That's how you got to play the game. The game will honor you when you have that kind of a mindset and that kind of an attitude.
Okay, very back, far right, Randall.
You kind of talked about some of the skill position players that SMU has. In week 1, they hit a few, really big, deep touchdowns. What does your defense has to do to neutralize some of those plays?
Yeah, you got to play with good fundamentals. You got to understand the calls. You got to understand splits. You got to understand situation, and then you got to apply, the knowledge. Wisdom is the application of knowledge. So we give them the knowledge during the week, and then in all those situations when they're out there on the field on their own, they need to apply it. And so. Nothing more than that. Of course, again, there's nothing easy about what I just said. So there's got to be a great process pre-snap, and then post-snap, they've got to do a great job at finishing plays. The ball's going to be in the air. They're going to pull up on their bus, and they're going to launch that football down the field. And our guys have got to do a great job of, straining, on the finish of routes.
Staying the way back, Parker.
Yeah, Coach, for a guy like Cade McIntyre, who came in not having played a whole lot at tight end, to play as many snaps as he did in week 1 and have a nice catch and run, how did you feel about the way he performed?
Great. Again, another summer enrollee. He's a good football player. Good football players, they transition quick. It's not to say that he's ready to be first team all Big 12, but just the football doesn't overwhelm them. And, once they understand the language and how it applies to them, they transition pretty quick. But he's a great athlete. Again, a guy that we sincerely told him he can choose what you want to play linebacker, you want to play tight end. And he felt like he could transition maybe a little more quickly to tight end, even though he didn't have a great depth of experience. But he's, again, a tough guy, hard-working dude, loves the weight room, is in great condition, super smart, really coachable. He's got a great future.
Clay, second row.
Yeah, about Dylan. Every year he's played college football prior to this one, his numbers have been remarkably similar. But Saturday he was maybe more accurate than I've ever seen. Did he come back different, better, or did he just have a lot of time, Saturday?
I think it's probably a little combination of the both, but I would say the latter or the former first. Just I think that you're seeing the best version of him. He's been a highly productive player. He'd probably be the first to tell you that another off season of film study and the work that he's put in, how he watches video and looks at an opponent, and the pre and the post snap diagnosis has probably slowed down incredibly strong for him. So I would say it's all those things, and then again I think it's the group of players around him or another. It's not all of them, but he's got a great group that are another year in the system, so they're better at what they're doing too. So everybody's on that proverbial same page.
That's all I had on the queue. Probably have time for just a couple more. Jenny.
Brent, we had potentially one of the most remarkable player interviews last night with Walter Rouse. Unbelievable, 30-something minutes with him. His personality, what have you seen him bring to this team as he's come in? Obviously just a one-year guy. What have you seen him bring personality?
This is a servant attitude for a guy that's as experienced as he is. He didn't show up here with a know-it-all attitude. He wanted to come here and be challenged. So his maturity beyond his years, even for a whatever he is, a fourth-year guy, a fifth-year guy. Fourth-year guy. I don't know if he's fourth or fifth year. I think he played in fifth year, but he came here for all the right reasons. Said, okay, I'm not where I want to be. Oklahoma's going to get me a different type of challenge, different level of play maybe, but as much as anything, the challenge and development. Both from Coach Biedenbow and Jerry Schmidt. But what a fun teammate. What y'all experience, that's who everybody experiences. And, as opposed to the guy that's played a lot and he comes in here and, he in love with himself. Walter's not like that. He's confident, but he's incredibly humble. And then he's about the work. He loves to work. And players, that's how he immediately earned respect of his teammates. He's willing to listen. You get 2 ears and one mouth, and he understands what that is all about, and he's really worked on his craft and again developing relationships. He's a relational guy, and so he's fit right in. He's a pig in the mud.
Barry.
Yeah, Brent, you spent 10 years in the ACC. Mm-hmm. You're about to play a program that's going to the ACC. Mm-hmm. Does that freak you out when you start thinking about where everybody's at and where everybody's going, and you
No.
just, like Gundy yesterday gave us a shtick about, he couldn't remember who he's playing this year. So, do you ever get off rails, or are you able to just tunnel in and we're playing SMU and I don't care where they're going or where they're coming from?
I love college football. I know I've said that before. I love college football. I love stories. I love people. I love coaches. I love history. I just think that's part of, where things are going. We know where it's headed, and so that's just part of it. So I don't really have, I said they'll do just fine in the ACC. SMU's, they got a lot of positive things that will enable them to transition pretty smoothly, and then again, in the big picture, be able to, compete at a really high level, from a location standpoint and commitment to facilities. But other than that, I look at the DNA of an opponent. It's kind of nameless and faceless other than that. And but I do pay attention. I don't have my head in the sand. And I can't say that, that stuff doesn't matter. When it comes to getting ready for a game, it doesn't matter. But when it comes to, my love and appreciation for, what this sport has meant to so many people, including myself, it does matter. But, I don't have any kind of strong feelings one way or the other.
Okay, last two, James Hellman and Garen.
Brent, the way that SMU plays, your pass rush is going to be a key. What did you think about your pass rush, and what do you think about it coming into this game?
Yeah, I think it'll be tested in a different way. Again, we saw 50 plays, so we didn't. When we saw, a handful of, third and medium or short, and so, the ball's coming out quick or they're running the football. They ran on one of the third and longs, Arkansas State did, and then another third and long, we had a bust, and so really didn't give them a chance there. The quarterback literally caught it and threw it, in about 1.5 seconds. And then I think you saw, most of the other day, very little drop back. It's 3-step and 7 and 8 man protections, and then the RPO. So it's hard. I just look at disruptiveness and consistency, being where we're supposed to be, playing with good pad level, striking people, knocking people backwards, and it's pretty good. Good start. Nothing to beat our chest about, and again, I didn't expect them to come out and look like the the 85 Bears day one either, but I didn't leave the field or after watching the film, in disgust either. Feel pretty good and know that we got to get better.
Portal follow-up, Brett, sorry about that. Are you surprised at all the impact it's had on the games already?
No, no, I'm not. Again, I don't know if it's been the portal or not. Maybe it is. Maybe there's all kinds of great stories out there. Yeah,
Case in point, right?
You think about it, if it's going to create parity, I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. The only part that I don't love is that we give young people no reason to pause. And as we know, we've all been an emotional and out of whack, 18, 19, 20-year-old, and impulsive by nature. Young people are, and I would love to incentivize, all of it, but it sounds self-serving. And look, it's benefited us. I'm just saying, I'm coming at it from a dad and somebody that believes wholeheartedly in loyalty and building something and sticking through some tough moments. And that's not a bad thing to stick around and figure things out. And there's always exceptions, but I don't know. I kind of like it. I won't like it when it hurts the Oklahoma Sooners. You can't blame me, but I don't know. It's exciting. Who doesn't like March Madness, right? Everybody loves March Madness for all the obvious reasons, but that's just. It really doesn't matter how I feel at the end of the day, because I'm not changing it, and nobody that makes decisions have asked me, "Hey, what do you think, Coach Venables?" So I I just believe in being attached to something, you know, like for the rest of your life, intimately attaching yourself to a group of people, to a place that you can call home. I believe in that from a collegiate experience. And so I think you're giving that up. I mean, you don't know what you don't know as a, 18, 19, 20-year-old. Just I'm coming to you from a 52-year-old perspective that's lived a little bit of life. And what I can appreciate about being an alumni, of somewhere. Or again, just being maybe even from a career standpoint, I haven't worn many hats. And I feel very connected to people and places at the couple of places that I've been. That it comes from a place of genuineness and being loyal to where your feet are.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you, Coach.
All right. Appreciate everybody. Y'all have a great week.